St. Clair College played host to the first event of the OCAA Cross Country season this past Saturday at Malden Park. The Saints men's team continued their unbeaten streak going back to last season, where they were named the CCAA National Championship, taking the team title at Malden Park. The women's team for St. Clair also fared well with a 5th place finish. The St. Clair men's team was led by outstanding rookie runner Carter Free from Napanee, Ontario, who ran away from the competition in a time of 25:42 over the very difficult 8-kilometer course. Free was followed by a third-year Saints runner and 2-time All-Canadian Tyler Jones, who crossed the line in a time of 26:41, in 3rd place just ahead of fellow St. Clair third-year man Rick Nepomuceno in 4th place with a time of 26:56. The St. Clair women's team was led by another rookie runner in Maya Palumbo from Amherstburg, Ontario, who turned in a 6th place finish in a time of 26:07 over the 6-kilometer course. Later this year, the Saints will play host to the OCAA Provincial Championships on October 26th at Malden Park. Windsor's Kyle Propolec went the distance in his UFC debut at 155 pounds, but ultimately fell to American Austin Hubbard at UFC Fight Night in Vancouver this past weekend. Propolec, who had previously fought Nordine Taleb on short notice and in a higher weight class, had a full camp to prepare for the American Hubbard and was the first fight of the night in the venue at BC Place in Vancouver. Propolec was the busier fighter in the first round, landing a significant blow as time expired and dropping Hubbard at the bell. But in the second round, Hubbard used his wrestling and ground game to limit the amount of damage Propolec could inflict. In the third round, both fighters were active, but in the end, it was Hubbard's takedowns that would ultimately give him the edge on the judges' scorecard. Despite lasting the full 15 minutes in the octagon for the second straight time, the decision would not go in Propolec's favor as he falls to 0-2 in his UFC career. The Windsor Lancers football team gave it all that they could, but ultimately fell short against the Queen's Gales on Saturday, dropping a 15-8 contest. They are now 1-3 under J.P. Cercelli in his first year as head coach at University of Windsor. The Blue and Gold struggled on offense, managing just one scoring drive on the day, which ultimately cost them the contest. Despite an inspiring defensive performance, the Lancers fall to 1-3 on the season as their attention now turns to McMaster next week. Sam Gerard went 18 of 31 for 219 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. James Keenan led the way for Queens with 12 of 24 passing of 257 yards and 1 touchdown. Daniel Metcalf lived in the backfield for the Lancers with 5 tackles for loss. Nolan Bedard was the best defender for Queens with 2 tackles for loss. The Lancers will now head to Hamilton to take on the McMaster Marauders on Saturday, September 21st at 1 p.m. Our friends at Cable 14 in Hamilton will be streaming the game for us, and you can watch that on your TV's channel 700 or 11. This week's TSS Spotlight is shining on former Windsor Spitfire player and now a Stanley Cup champion, Steve Ott, who brought the Stanley Cup to Lakeshore this summer to celebrate after the St. Louis Blues won their first Stanley Cup championship in franchise history. After a long playing career, Steve Ott transitioned to the bench behind the St. Louis Blues and was very successful, helping the St. Louis Blues win their first ever Stanley Cup championship. And I can't imagine how many different fans loved the experience they had getting to see the Stanley Cup in their hometown. Congratulations, Otter, and here's to your TSS Spotlight, and here's to your name on the Stanley Cup. Well deserved.